Yes.
Okay. All right, last question. We had about 25 cards on give us something about these lead tablets. So recognizing that we've really abused these folks. Oh, that's him. That's the Israeli Bedouin. He's got the, and you have his cell number for us.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, you look asleep. He looks, who's this?
This is Bar Oz Sasson, who is an Israeli attorney from Haifa. And when Diane and I showed up at Hassan's house, this is inside his home, the attorney was there.
So, now why do I not find that surprising?
So I thought, well, you know, in a way it was good because I thought, well, they're serious, you know. I mean, if you're just dealing with fakes, then, you know, why would you bring your...
Do you tell us what you know about whether or not they're real? Should we just be ignoring this stuff or should we be paying attention?
Yeah, okay. Well, and I haven't even told you this part, Mark. You know, I first heard about this almost 2 years ago. I was in South Africa again writing. I got this call from a guy in England, and he said, you know, I'm so-and-so, David Elkington. Didn't know him at the time, and he said, I know a Bedouin who has dug up some things in Jordan and brought them over to Israel, and I'm wondering if you can tell me what to do. And I said, well, first of all, in my position, where I work with the Jordanian government and the Israeli government all the time, I have to be very careful and very neutral. And my advice is, take them back to Jordan and give them to the Department of Antiquities. It's as simple as that. So I didn't hear from him for 2 years until a couple of weeks ago when all this started in a newspaper. And I was called by the Department of Antiquities in Jordan. And the director, whose name is Ziad Al-Sad, said, you know, Prince Hassan and I would like you to do us a favor. Please, when you go to Israel in a few days, try to meet with this Hassan. So I traced down his number through some friends in England, called him, we went to see him. He sure thinks they're, you know, real, I think. But an archaeological object, I think there's a few short things to remember. First of all, provenance. Where did it come from? Now, if you didn't have an archaeologist there, if you don't have photographs, if you don't have witnesses, then you've got a problem with provenance, okay? Secondly, date. Now, in the case of the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are mostly written on vegetable or animal material, either papyrus or parchment or leather, then you have something you can date, at least, you know, pretty well. In the case of lead, it's much harder, but he showed me a report that was made by a professor at Oxford University and also in Zurich, detailing the chemical composition of the lead codices, which they say puts the lead, first of all, in the Mediterranean area, and secondly, during Roman times. But that's pretty broad, okay? But still, you've got like an attempt at a date. Thirdly, when you're dealing with something like this, you need to talk about content. So far, only 3 of 70 tablets has even been opened. There are 3 in the UK. Hassan told me that the rest of them are buried, and the way he said it sounded like they're buried, you know, in his backyard or somewhere. although, when he went to get these documents, he had them hidden in the ceiling. So he stood in the chair, and I mean, what a hiding place, huh? I mean, you open it up right in front of your guests. So who knows where he has these things buried, okay? So my report to the Jordanians was this. Right now, they have no value whatsoever because you don't have provenance, you don't have date, you don't know the content, and it's foolish to make a judgment either way. It was foolish of one of the officials there to say, this may be greater than the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Even if they're full of things, even if they're from the 1st century, they're not going to be greater than Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay? And I explained to Ziad and Bar Oz that if eventually they could somehow prove that it's some kind of a Christian content and they're from the 3rd or 4th century, they're not going to be worth much anyway. Because we know a lot about Christianity from that period. If they're from the 1st century, they're really Christian. There really was a good content. If they could somehow prove what cave they came out of, if they could, all that, then you might be talking about something that's valuable, both in terms of money and in terms of content for the scholarly world. But we're not there yet. We're a long ways away. And so Hassan's invited me back. He's a nice guy. I'll go see him. And maybe, who knows, maybe he's dug up the plates.
And maybe this time you take your lawyer.
Take my what?
Your lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you, right?
Okay, will y'all join me in thanking Weston very much?
Well, yeah.